What the fuck are you doing here?
What the fuck are you doing here?
A group of small-time crooks, Ed and his friends, Tom, Soap, and Bacon, spent their days lounging around, using their swagger to make money. Since Ed had a talent for gambling, they decided to take on a big job. Their target was the notorious Indian Axe Harry's gambling operation. Harry was a ruthless character who ran high-interest loan sharking, operated a casino, and even hired people to intimidate and hurt those who owed him money. His methods were cruel and underhanded, with Bally being his personal enforcer. However, Harry's entry fee into his operations was steep, £100,000 minimum. So they raised £100,000 through a seed round of funding and even mortgaged Ed's dad's bar. That became their startup capital. Ed had some skill, and with a bit of luck, he quickly racked up several £100,000. But Harry, being the sly fox he was, set up a scheme to spy on Ed's cards. Blinded by victory, Ed had no idea, and in the end, lost all his winnings. Worse yet, he now owed Harry £500,000, and that's how the story began. Ed and his crew knew all too well how dangerous Harry was, so they didn't dare delay payment. They had to figure out a way to come up with the money fast. Harry had a passion for collecting antique guns, so they arranged for Bally to steal some. Bally then hired two professional thieves from Scotland, Gally and Kenny, who were particularly fond of robbing post offices. The two quickly stole a bunch of guns, but things went sideways when Gally nearly got his head blown off. Among the loot were two antique pistols that Gally and Kenny secretly sold to Nick. When Bally found out, he was furious and demanded they get the guns back immediately. The group of four was getting desperate. One day, Ed overheard the neighbors talking about a big heist they were planning, and it sounded like a huge payday. So the group came up with a plan. Wait for the neighbors to rob the place, then steal the loot from them once they were done. Tom went to Nick to buy the guns, the very same two antique pistols that Harry had been looking for. The leader of the neighboring gang was a man named Will, brutal and selfish, willing to do anything for money. The target for their next robbery was their old client, Willie, who supplied them with marijuana. They knew Willie's operation well, having picked up goods from him regularly, and they knew he had a lot of cash on hand. Will brought his crew to rob Willie, who, outnumbered, surrendered his guns without a fight. Will and his gang made off with a large sum of cash, filling up a whole car. Meanwhile, the four friends were waiting for them to return, unaware that Will's gang had fallen straight into their trap. Will was powerless, watching as Ed drove off with the car full of cash. On the way, Ed swapped the loot to his own car and confidently drove back. The neighbors, right next door, didn't suspect a thing. After counting the money, not only did they have enough to pay back Harry, but there was still plenty left over. So, the group decided to hit the bar and blow some cash. Then, they had Nick sell drugs to Roy. But when Roy checked the marijuana, he realized it was the same stuff that had been stolen from his own turf. Furious, Roy threatened Nick, demanding Ed's address so he could personally teach these thieves a lesson. Meanwhile, Ed and his friends were partying at the bar all night. The unexpected twist came when Will, having realized that the neighbor Ed was the one who had robbed them, decided to use their own tactics against them.